In the heart of a quiet mountain village, where green valleys kissed the sky and a gentle river sang through the stones, there lived a young man named Ayan. Ayan was 30 years old, strong, intelligent, and full of dreams. But like many of us, his heart carried a storm. He had faced betrayal from friends, failure in his business, and the weight of his own doubts. Every night, he looked at the stars and asked, "Why me? Why does life make me struggle so much?" Days passed, and his restlessness grew heavier. Until one morning, an old traveler told him, "Beyond those mountains, by the river, lives a wise fakir. He has answers that can calm any heart." Without hesitation, Ayan decided to go. He walked for miles, across muddy paths, thick forests, and whispering winds, until he finally reached a wide, calm river glimmering under the morning sun. There, sitting under a tree, was an old man dressed in simple white cloth. His face shone with peace, and his eyes, deep and calm, looked like they had seen the world's secrets. Ayan bowed slightly and said, "Master, I have heard you hold great wisdom. I have tried everything, but my life feels like a mess. No matter how hard I try, I keep failing. Please, tell me what I'm doing wrong." The old man smiled gently. He stood up and walked toward the river, signaling Ayan to follow. They stood at the edge of the flowing water, the river's reflection dancing like liquid gold. The fakir picked up a stone and threw it into the river. "Look," he said, "the water didn't stop. It moved around the stone and continued to flow." Ayan watched silently. The old man turned to him and said softly, "Life is like this river. Obstacles are the stones. They may disturb the surface, but they can never stop the flow unless you let them." Ayan listened carefully. "But master," he said, "what if the stones are too many? What if I feel too weak?" The fakir smiled again and dipped his hand into the water, letting it flow through his fingers. "My son," he said, "water never fights the rock. It bends, it changes direction, and still finds its way. When you stop resisting what you cannot control, you find peace. Your strength is not in fighting life, it's in flowing with it." The young man looked down, silent. His eyes glistened as the morning breeze brushed his face. For the first time, he felt something inside him loosen. The heavy knot of anger and frustration he had carried for years. The old man continued, "You said you failed many times. But tell me, did you learn something each time?" Ayan nodded slowly. "Yes. I learned patience, I learned planning, and I learned who my real friends are." The fakir smiled. "Then how can you call it failure? Each fall was a lesson. Each loss was a teacher. You see, success doesn't mean never falling, it means never stopping your journey." Ayan felt a lump in his throat. He looked at the mountains standing tall behind the river and whispered, "So, the stones in the river are not my enemies." The fakir chuckled softly. "No, they are your guides. They shape your direction. Without them, the river would have no song, no beauty, and no path." A silence followed, peaceful and heavy with truth. The sun had now risen higher, painting the mountains in golden light. The river sparkled like it carried pieces of the sky within. Ayan took a deep breath and said, "Master, I think I understand now. I kept blaming life for being hard, but maybe it was just trying to make me stronger." The old man placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. "My son, every problem in life carries its own solution, hidden inside patience. When your heart stops shouting, you begin to hear the answer." Tears rolled down Ayan's cheeks. The weight he had carried for years began to fade. He looked at the river again, and this time, he didn't see pain or failure. He saw movement. He saw purpose. He saw life. The fakir said one last thing before turning to leave. "Remember, when life pushes you to the edge, don't curse the storm. Spread your arms, you might just learn to fly." Ayan stood there for a long time after the old man disappeared behind the hills. He felt as if his soul had been washed clean by the river's wisdom. From that day onward, he stopped running from problems. He faced them calmly, one by one, and slowly, life began to change. Opportunities opened, relationships healed, and peace returned to his heart. Years later, people in his village began calling him Ayan the Calm. They came to him with their worries, just as he once went to the fakir. And he would take them to the same river, telling them softly, The water never stops flowing. And neither should you. Life will always test you. People will hurt you, situations will break you, and dreams will challenge you. But remember the river. Flow through every obstacle with patience and grace. Because no matter how dark the night, the sunrise always returns. If this story touched your heart, don't forget to like, subscribe, and share this video with someone who needs hope today. Because sometimes, a simple story can change a life.